In today's culture, they tell you to be happy, chase happiness, chase comfort, chase the stress-free life. They don't want you to be stressed. They want you to chase what's good, chase what will make you feel good inside, chase what will make you feel comfortable. But why? Why do they want us to chase happiness? What is so good about being complacent and being happy and all these things? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, of course, I want to be happy. Of course, I want to not have stress in my life. But at what cost? What does it actually mean to not be stressed? What does it actually mean to chase happiness? And what do you do after you gain happiness, no stress, and just a comfortable life? Simply put, if you don't level up, you will be depressed. And let me explain why. Like I said about how society wants you to be comfortable, they want you to be happy, they just want you to live this comfortable life. But why? I live that type of lifestyle. I live the do whatever I want. Okay, maybe smoke some weed every once in a while, drink with my buddies, do whatever, like just do whatever. Turn my brain off and go on my phone. I was so used to just chasing what felt good, what was the next thing that would make me feel good, that eventually it led to me feeling empty. It led to me feeling like why, like what's the point of all of this? Every day after school, what I would do is I would take a nap till dinner time, and after dinner I'd procrastinate doing homework on my phone until like 12 p.m., like 12 at night. And it's that same cycle would repeat over and over and over. It's just like, what was I achieving? What was I, like, this thing called happiness, this thing of having no stress, was it really worth it? We don't realize is our minds are so powerful. Our minds are what they call anti-fragile. But what does that really mean? In simple terms, your brain and your mind does not want you to be weak. It will not let you become fragile. It's anti-fragile. It will do whatever it can to make you not weak and not be a pussy. Our anti-fragile mind always looks for problems to solve. It's always looking for the next thing to solve. And so, if we get into these periods of happiness, comfort, and a stress-free life, what will happen is our mind will create problems. It will create things like anxiety, depression, because those things, the reason that we feel empty, the reason that when we are happy and we do feel these like depressive states, we chase the next thing that will make us happy. It's like chasing the next dopamine hit. All we are doing though is running away from the pain and the stress and the anxiety and depression. But what if I told you that stuff is what will make you grow? That stuff is what you should be chasing. If you're not gonna solve problems, if you're not gonna go after and face adversity, your mind will create it for you. Your mind will put you in these states of anxiety and depression to tell you to get off your ass and go out and achieve something. You see, I'm actually super grateful for that. Because what would happen if our mind wasn't like that? We would just be fucking like on our ass all day doing nothing, achieving nothing. It's almost like your mind will haunt you if you don't do anything about your life and you just stay in this comfort zone. You stay in like this like little box that you built for yourself. So instead of chasing happiness, instead of trying to run away from problems, run towards the problems that you want to solve. And this ties in with purpose and your mission and living a meaningful life. It's solving problems and solving things that you want to solve, because you cannot run away from problems, because if you don't, like I said, your brain, your mind will create problems for you. It's almost like in a video game where you're playing the game and notifications will pop up and be like to remind you, oh bro, like you're low on health, oh you're low on this, you're low on that. Your brain is doing the same thing to you. When you are depressed and when you are complacent, you feel almost guilty. You feel like this like emptiness in the pit of your stomach, because that's your brain telling you, bro, like we have to get better. Your brain is giving you notifications and all you're doing is pressing X on those notifications and swiping it away and trying to ignore it. So again, stop trying to run away from problems and run towards the problems that you want to solve, because problems will be there regardless. You can't duck them, you can't dodge them, because if you do, it's going to come to haunt you and it's going to be much more worse than you facing it. The cost of ducking it versus facing it is so much more worse, because if you try to duck it as long as you can, number one, you fall behind in life, and number two, your mind will haunt you. Those notifications will get louder and louder and louder the more you try to run away from problems. It's not even just about, oh, when do I get to enjoy myself? When do I get to live my life? Because people think living their life is just fucking doing nothing. It's just being happy, being stress-free. But what does that get you? That gets you nowhere. And it's so beautiful that our mind has this ability to make us level up. It makes us want to get better. You should be grateful for that instead of trying to, try to dodge it. Like another analogy that I'll give you is if you're playing a video game, what will happen if you don't level up, if you don't beat certain levels? What your character will do is get weaker and weaker and weaker. And those notifications will keep popping up until you actually start going to the levels again. You start trying to level up step by step by step. So again, what problems do you want to solve? What levels do you want to beat? We all have desires, we all have things that we want, and that's the key to finding out what problems that you want to solve. For me, I loved being curious. I loved finding out new information. I loved that feeling of thoughts clicking in my mind, that things made sense. I love that feeling. And knowing that, I use that to my advantage to solve the problems for other people, help other people get that clicking feeling in their brain to make something make sense. Ask yourself, what do you want? And how can you use your desire to solve other problems and to give some type of value to the world? I remember I had a 2-week period in my life, like last year in 2023. So if you are new to this channel, I used to do affiliate marketing for like 10 months because I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to make money online, but it ended up failing. I made a little bit of progress, but it did not align with my purpose. I was just following someone else's script for happiness. And so now knowing that, I would take breaks from it. I'd take like a couple days, maybe even a week. But this one period, I took 2 weeks off of affiliate marketing to watch Sword Art Online, which is an anime. It's pretty good, but I took 2 weeks to watch like 4 seasons of it. After the fact, like towards the end of those 2 weeks, I started to like feel a little bit guilty. Like, okay, like I need to start doing work, because I was barely going to the gym. I wasn't working on anything. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't keeping up to date with myself because I just needed to fall back into this comfort. But with that caused guilt. It caused this anxious feeling. Like I started to feel anxious, like, okay, I need to do something. I need to get up and get better. And so with that, after that 2-week period, I felt so grateful for the work that I was missing out on, because in the work was the fulfillment I was actually looking for. Into the work, into the problems that I was facing, was the actual happiness I was looking for. Because it's not happiness, it's fulfillments towards your purpose. It's a meaning. It's having a fulfilled type of sense of feeling. But I am grateful for watching all 4 seasons of Sword Art Online in 2 weeks. But with that, like, I actually learned a lot, not from watching it, but just taking time away from the work and doing things that made me feel like I was getting better. Distractions are everywhere, and that's the reason that you don't feel fulfilled, and that's the reason that you feel empty. In knowing that there's so many distractions, so much noise in our minds, like we don't get a chance to listen to ourselves, listen to our soul, listen to those notifications that are popping up in the game telling us to level up, because there's always the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, all these events, all these little moments of just pleasure. You don't realize it, but every time you get a dopamine hit, the crash is so much more worse after. But this doesn't mean we can't have positive experiences, but you have to realize with these positive experiences comes a trough, a downfall of negative emotions. Because all life is up, down, up, down. That's all life is. So you have to learn how to navigate and ride the wave. You expect these small moments of pleasures. You expect that party. You expect that drink. You expect smoking weed with your friends. You expect watching another anime to take away the pain. But once that's done, you come into reality and you realize, okay, what's next? What do I do now? After those events, you feel even more empty because you were just trying to put off those notifications. Now you have a whole notification box filled with them. And now you have to take the weight, take the responsibility, take care of them. As you climb this like dopamine-filled, pleasure-filled mountain, when you get to the top, you don't realize it, but you get pushed off hard. You get pushed off once you get to the top of it. And that's how dopamine works. It's up, down. Dopamine is the wanting of something. It's not when you actually get it, and when it's actually done and said and done, it's done. You don't get the wanting of it anymore because you got it. Dopamine is the wanting of something. It's not you don't get dopamine from acquiring something. You get dopamine from wanting something. But once you get it, it falls down and then you feel empty again. So what you want to do, instead of riding waves like this, you want it to ride like this, down and up. Because when you go down and up, for example, a hard workout, for example, a cold shower, for example, waking up early, for example, meditating for longer than you did yesterday, these small changes over time is what fulfills you. These small divots first, and then followed up by a tall mountain. With that, stop waiting for life to give you problems and create the problems that you want to solve. Because if you don't create problems, your mind will haunt you. It will begin to tell you that, listen, the reason that you're depressed is because you're not doing shit with your life. We need to get better. We need to just go out and get things. We need to be fulfilled, but you're not doing it by doing these simple pleasures, these simple things that just leave you empty afterwards. Like, how long are you going to continue the cycle? How long are you going to keep up with this? Because you can only do it for so long. Trust me, I've been there so many times where the next dopamine hit, either a party, smoking weed, hanging out with a girl, being on my phone, numbing myself. It doesn't make sense. Like, that lifestyle does not make sense to me, because you just feel this emptiness, and then you hit rock bottom, and then from rock bottom, all you have to do is just go up. So don't wait to hit rock bottom. Just understand that, okay, with pain, with choosing discomfort, I can grow and I can actually reach the thing I was always looking for. Because you have desires, and use those desires to string you along towards long-term fulfillment, and not just these simple temporary pleasures that leave you empty. Stop waiting for something big to happen, and do those small changes, because success isn't this huge thing. It isn't this overnight success. It's those small changes that led you up over time. This YouTube channel, as I'm filming this video, I started it 4 months ago. This channel wasn't built in 4 months. It was built over a year and a half worth of time, me working on myself. This YouTube channel took really a year and a half worth of me getting better and self-developing. It didn't take 4 months. It took a year and a half. With that, I hope you understand that discomfort leads to greatness. It leads to things that will leave you fulfilled. Discomfort is always going to be there regardless, because you have to just get used to it. Use it to your advantage to level up in this game of life. With that too, I also have a Discord for free that you could join. We have a bunch of people in there talking about leveling up, talking about escaping escapism, talking about getting rid of this lifestyle of just pleasure, just temporary pleasure. So if you're looking for like-minded people, go ahead. It's in the link in the description. It's completely free. And with that, continue your journey, go out and level up, and keep moving forward.